an attorney represented by the court, appointed by the court.
If you will.
Si usted no puede pagar su propio abogado, quiere que le asigne un abogado mediante el tribunal,
I will provisionally appoint the public defender's office to represent you.
entonces le nombraré profesionalmente la oficina de defensores públicos para que le represente.
When I say provisionally, that means you will still have to qualify to receive the public defender's assistance.
Cuando digo provisionalmente, lo que quiero decir es que aún tendrá que calificar para recibir la asistencia de defensor público.
The public defender will begin to represent you today.
Pero los defensores públicos empezarán a representarle hoy.
There's a $50 application fee for applying for the public defender services.
Una cuota de $50 de aplicación para el servicio de defensor público.
In certain instances, the court may require you to pay a reasonable value for the public defender services.
En ciertas instancias es posible que un juez exija que pague un valor razonable por el servicio del defensor público.
The third purpose for this hearing is to review your bond status.
El tercer propósito de esta audiencia es revisar el estatus de su fianza.
In some cases, the bond set for you through booking might be too high.
En estos casos, la fianza fijada para usted durante el fichaje puede estar muy elevada.
And in other cases, it might be too low.
En otros casos, puede estar baja.
In some instances, it may be appropriate to impose certain conditions of pretrial release.
En estos casos, puede ser adecuado imponer ciertas condiciones de libertad condicional.
Throughout this proceeding, each of you has the right to remain silent.
Durante este proceso, sepa que cada uno de ustedes tiene el derecho a permanecer en silencio.
If you choose not to remain silent, anything you say can be used against you.
Si escoge no permanecer en silencio, cualquier cosa que diga puede ser usada en su contra.
In this regard, know there's an assistant state attorney in the courtroom here with me today.
A propósito de esto, sepan que en el juzgado el día de hoy está presente un asistente de la fiscalía,
Listening to everything that's being said, and everything we say is being recorded.
escuchando todo lo que se dice y todo lo que se dice está siendo grabado.
This is Florida.
So please do not say anything about the crime itself.
Así que por favor, no diga nada sobre el delito en sí.
In the event I have a need to ask you questions, you may refuse to answer any questions I ask.
La eventualidad de que yo tenga la necesidad de hacerle preguntas, pueden negarse a contestar cualquier pregunta que yo haga.
Can't see
Finally, know
that.
that you
You'll
have
see
the
them
right to
shortly.
communicate with your family, friends, and with your attorney.
Por último, sepan que tienen el derecho a comunicarse con sus familiares, amistades y con su abogado.
Please keep these rights in mind as we go through this process.
Por favor, recuerden estos derechos mientras pasamos por este proceso.
As your name is called, please step forward.
Cuando se llame su nombre, por favor, pase al podio.
Please stand up, raise your right hand, and answer out loud to the following question.
Ponerse de pie y contestar en voz alta la siguiente pregunta.
All right.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Afirman el testimonio que daremos será la verdad, toda la verdad.
Everyone who answered out loud yes may sit down. If you did not answer out loud yes, please remain standing, and we'll have further questions for you. Okay, all those people in the back did not answer yes?
They need to be sworn in. You had somebody like they couldn't stand up.
All right, raise your right hand and answer out loud to the following question. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Tell you what. Come on.
Oh, boy.
There you guys go. Does that work for you guys? Can you stream Pakistan?
All right. Okay, first we're going to take the two cases that require the services of the interpreter. Then we have an in custody. Then we're going to go to private attorneys, and then we'll jump to the rest of everybody else. All right, so the first case is Marlene Ochoa.
Marlene Ochoa. Let's see. Okay, let me. I'm gonna blow it up for you guys because I know some of you guys can't see
Mr.
nothing.
Ochoa, you are charged in this case with domestic violence
There we
battery,
go. How's that right there?
aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 2 charges of that, and aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Perfect.
And it looks like these are direct filed charges
You're right.
that the state attorney's office filed upon. Would you like for me to appoint a public defender to represent you? Or are you going to hire your own attorney or represent
Yes, I'd
yourself?
like a PD.
I'm getting
I
better at
provisionally
this.
appointed a public
Thank
defender
you.
to represent you in this case. And I have reviewed the state attorney's office information and arrest report, and they do find probable cause for these charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bond as a condition of pretrial release. Your bond is set at $7,500 on each of the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charges, and $15,000 on the aggravated battery with a deadly weapon charge,
Damn.
$5,000 on the domestic violence battery charge. Once you are released, you need to report immediately to pretrial release services office in person in Bartow. Thereafter, you need to report 5 times a week by phone every week.
5 times a
on
week?
Mondays through Fridays.
Your Honor, that's outrageous.
Additionally, you may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, or knives.
Yeah, they got shorts on. That is correct. It must be hot in there. They probably
You're
don't
also
have any air
prohibited from
conditioner.
having any contact with the victim. You cannot contact the victim in any way, shape, or form. You must stay at least 500 feet away from the victim.
Most of the people don't even have a phone. How are they going to call? I could already see it now. Your Honor, I didn't
Victim's
have a
residence,
phone.
Place
I
of
lost my
employment,
phone.
vehicle, and schools at all times.
I didn't have signal, Your Honor. I ran out of airtime.
Thank you, sir. Please step to your left.
Next! Hey, what up? What up, mama?
Thank you, Your Honor. I think that's
My
all
dog
I
ate
have
my
in front of me today.
That one. Thank you, ma'am, very much. I appreciate it. That one
No
was
problem. Have a
15.
good day.
You too.
It was the other one 15,000?
No, you have them right on the other ones.
Okay.
My Wi-Fi is too, Your Honor. Look for the last standing payphone.
Is Benedito Rodriguez Adorno.
Let's see this character right here.
We'll pull up the arrest warrant on this one, please.
Oh, damn, we got the mute
And I'm
button
gonna
on
have a
him.
question for the clerk and the state attorney's office on this one. At least when I look at,
The mute button has a mind of his
Tengo
own.
una pregunta para la secretaria para este caso.
The unmute button does what it wants. Don't tell it what to do. It does what it wants. A P test? Man, they better get the Wizinator. Get the Wizination.
I mean, there was when I looked at it earlier. I think that was my question.
They got them separated. So the women are in the front right here. Somewhere around here, right here. And then the men are back there. So they got them separated. That's why that's why you see 2 groups of people. The women are in blue.
We're
The men
gonna
are in
skip
orange.
this one for a minute and go to the other interpreter case.
Se va a pasar en un momento
What
y
up,
llamamos
Nana?
otros casos que necesitan interpretación.
And that is Olson Valley.
Chat. Next.
You're charging this,
Vámonos.
it looks like you're here before for a warrant from another jurisdiction, from Sarasota County on a underlying grand theft charge, and it's a violation of probation in that case.
Well, they give them tablets.
Por una orden de arresto de Sara por de mayor cuantía y es un incumplimiento de su probatoria.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're getting a little feedback here.
My
It
apologies,
sounds
my
very
honor.
muffed. We couldn't hear nothing she said.
Nothing.
Okay.
Let me try to support. Is this better?
No,
Oh,
probably
better?
worse.
Anybody looking for love? You might have your chance here.
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you hardly at all. And
yeah,
I
it
certainly
sounds.
can't hear you clearly at all.
What about now? Yeah.
Nope.
I will log in and call like
Love during lockup.
Okay,
I don't
sounds like
think
we're gonna have to figure something else out, and we're gonna come back to the Spanish interpretation cases. All right, let's go to Mr. Wesley.
Yeah, I like how the mute button thinks that somebody's chest is a hand. All the little oranges in the back.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wesley.
Hey, thank you, Jennifer.
And in this case, you're charged with kidnapping, inflicting bodily harm, or terrorizing a victim, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, domestic violence, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and domestic violence, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you? I'm going to provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you
Who is she talking to?
in this case. And I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for all of the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with GPS
they're right there.
electronic monitoring as a condition of release. Additionally, bail will be a condition of release.
There they go. They're on the lower right.
Once you're released, and I see the state attorney's office standing up, did you want to address one of the charges?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't believe there was a waiving of the reading. So for count one, the kidnapping, it's a first degree felony, dangerous crime. It's also punished by life. The state is requesting that the court exercise its discretion to do so for a number of reasons. The defendant has a lengthy criminal history, which includes a prior conviction for trafficking amphetamines. He was released before the state prison. In that case, I included that count, January 1st, 2021. In addition, he's also in custody for failing to appear for a week of work
Thank you,
release.
Jennifer.
In addition, based on the facts in the affidavit, there were minor children at the home when this was occurring. When the defendant was stopped in a vehicle, a gun matching the description that was used against the victim was located in that. In addition, I believe law enforcement has also filed for a risk protection order. The defendant, even prior to deploying a gun, was going to use a pipe. So the amount of violence is significant. The risk that the defendant poses to both the victim and the community is significant. And because of that, the state is requesting that the defendant be held no bond on that count.
If I were to hold him no bond on that count, would he go before a hearing? When would his hearing date be before the assigned judge?
If the court holds him no bond, then his attorney would need to file for an Arthur hearing. If the court's not inclined to do so, because it's a dangerous crime, I'd have to cite the rule, ask that it be set over for tomorrow for a pretrial detention hearing.
Is there anything the defense wants to tell me?
Your Grace Falls, for the record, we would request that the court consider setting a bond today.
As to the state's request, I am going to, at least on the one charge, the kidnapping charge, I am going to hold you no bond on that charge. As to the remaining counts, I am going to set a bond. I'm going to end the pretrial release conditions. So as to the remaining counts, I will require pretrial release with GPS electronic monitoring as a condition. Additionally, bail will be a condition of pretrial release.
Is anybody else's screen lagging?
Without the GPS monitor being affixed to your person. Once you are released, you need to report immediately to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Thank you for that daily,
Additionally,
Shannon.
I'm going to impose a curfew from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m.
If your screen's lagging, you should probably
Do
go
not
in and
use,
go.
possess, or carry
go
any
out and go in.
firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. Additionally, you must stay at least 500 feet away from the victim and have no contact with the victim in any way, shape, or form. Stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. Thank you, Mr. Wesley.
Next. Yeah, he's not gonna be home for quite some
Sorry,
time.
Mr. Wesley. And
Especially in
the other three
Florida.
bonds are 10,000 on each of those counts. Okay, thanks.
Florida don't play around.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You guys hear that? All right, we're gonna go back to the Spanish interpretation cases.
Nah, I'm from the west side. I'm from West LA.
And are you? Thanks. When you're ready for me. All right, we're gonna go back to the Spanish interpretation cases. And the first one, I'm gonna go to the one we were starting, Mr. Valley.
Ok, se llama caso del señor Valle.
Mr. Valley, it looks like you're here because you have a warrant out of Sarasota County for a violation of probation.
Señor Valle, parece que está aquí por una orden de arresto del condado de Sarasota por un incumplimiento de probatoria,
On an underlying grand theft charge.
por un cargo inicial de hurto de mayor cuantía.
And because it's an alleged violation of probation,
Ya que es una alegado incumplimiento de probatoria,
your bond status is no bond.
el estatus de su fianza es no fianza.
I have reviewed the arrest report and the warrant teletype confirmation.
He revisado el informe de arresto y la confirmación de la orden de arresto mediante dispositivo teletype.
And I do find probable cause for the charge.
Encuentro motivo fundado por el cargo.
So Sarasota will have to come get you.
Así que Sarasota tendrá que venir a buscarlo.
And because it's an out-of-county case,
Y ya que es un caso fuera de este condado,
I cannot appoint a Polk public defender to represent you.
no le puedo nombrar un defensor público del condado de Polk para que lo represente.
Thank you, Mr. Valley. Please step to your left.
Gracias, señor Valle. Pasa a tu izquierda.
Right, let's flip to the other one, please. All right, let's go to Benavito Rodriguez.
Benavito Rodriguez, come on down to the Price is Wrong. Almost at 70,000 likes. Thank you, Build Cool Things, and for everybody that's been tapping. Highly appreciate you guys. Let's get up to 100K if you
All right,
will.
so you're charged in this case with 4 counts of criminal mischief, $200 or less.
What's
Este
good,
cargo se le
bro? What
acusa,
up?
señor,
What up?
de daños a la propiedad, $200 o menos.
Possession of burglary tools with intent to use.
4 cargos del anterior
If you
y un cargo de posesión de herramientas para allanamiento.
4 counts of grand theft of a property,
4 cargos de hurto de mayor cuantía de propiedad,
dwelling or curtilage,
domicilio o perímetro de domicilio,
unarmed burglary, crossing county lines, 4 counts of that.
allanamiento no armado y cruzar líneas fronterizas entre condados, 4 cargos de eso.
You'd like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case?
¿Desea usted que le nombre la Defensoría Pública para que le represente en este caso?
Sí.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you.
Nombro provisionalmente la Defensoría Pública para que le represente.
One moment.
Un momento.
Un momento.
In this case, I have reviewed the arrest warrant and the complaint affidavit.
En este caso, he revisado la orden de arresto y el affidavit de denuncia.
And I do find probable cause for all the charges.
Encuentro motivo fundado por todos los cargos.
In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release,
En este caso, exigiré libertad condicional,
GPS electronic monitoring,
monitoreo mediante GPS electrónico
and bail as conditions of pretrial release.
Thank
y
you, Spooky.
fianza como condición de libertad condicional.
You may not be released until the GPS electronic monitor is affixed to your person.
No le pondrán en libertad hasta que le hayan colocado en su persona el monitor GPS.
Once you are released, you need to report immediately to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow in person.
Una vez que lo dejen en libertad, debe reportarse inmediatamente, personalmente, a la Oficina de Libertad Condicional en Bartow.
Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Después tendrá que reportarse telefónicamente 3 veces por semana, lunes, miércoles y viernes.
On each of the criminal mischief charges, your bail is set at $250.
Por cada uno de los cargos de daños a la propiedad, la fianza está en $250.
On each of the grand theft charges, your bail is set at $7,500.
Por cada uno de los cargos de hurto de mayor cuantía, la fianza está fijada en $7,500.
On the possession of burglary tools charge, your bail is set at $5,000.
En la posesión de herramientas para allanamiento delictivo, la fianza está fijada en $5,000.
On each of the burglary charges,
Por cada uno de los cargos de allanamiento,
your bail is set at $10,000.
la fianza está fijada en $10,000.
Additionally, you may not have any contact with the victims.
Adicionalmente, se le prohíbe tener cualquier clase de contacto con las víctimas.
You must stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times.
Debe mantenerse a 500 pies de distancia de las víctimas, de sus hogares, vehículos y lugares de empleo, escuela en todo momento.
You must also stay at least 500 feet away from the event location.
También debe mantenerse al mínimo de 500 pies de distancia del lugar de los.
And you are imposing a curfew from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m.
También tendrá un horario restringido de 9 p.m. hasta 6 a.m.
Thank you, sir. Please step to your left.
Gracias, señor. Pase a su izquierda.
So for the unarmed burglary, that was 2,000.
This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Florida. Hey, thank you, Mimi.
All right. Do you mind making an announcement, seeing if that's all of the Spanish cases, please?
We have a number with that central.
All right. Who is that?
Herrera, Herr.
Will him in, boys. Will him in. If you
Herrera.
will. Damn, James, you're cold.
Gerardo Herrera.
Gerardo Herrera.
Is this live?
Sir, you're charged in this case with trespass on a structure or a conveyance.
En este caso se le acusa de intrusión ilegal en una edificación o medio de transporte.
Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
¿Desea que le nombre la Defensoría Pública para que le represente?
Let me
Mr.
lower
Herrera,
that.
did you hear me?
Señor Herrera, ¿me oyó?
Do you want me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
¿Quiere que le nombre un defensor público para que le represente?
Charles Manson, is she gators?
He said C. He said C.
He said C.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case.
Le nombro provisionalmente a la Defensoría Pública para que le represente en este caso.
And I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for this charge.
He revisado el informe de arresto. Encuentro que existe motivo fundado por este cargo.
In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release.
He said C.
En este caso, exigiré libertad condicional con fianza como condición de la libertad condicional.
Your bail is set at $500.
Su fianza está fijada en $500.
Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow immediately in person.
Una vez que lo dejen en libertad, debe reportarse inmediatamente, personalmente, a la Oficina de Libertad Condicional en Bartow.
Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week.
Después tendrá que reportarse telefónicamente cada semana,
2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
2 veces por semana, los martes y los jueves.
You're also to have no contact with Walmart stores.
Oh, not the
También se
Walmart.
debe tener cualquier clase de contacto con las tiendas Walmart.
And you have to stay at least 500 feet away from the event location.
Y debe mantenerse a por lo menos 500 pies de distancia del lugar de los hechos.
My understanding is that you've got 2 open cases,
Tengo entendido que tiene 2 casos abiertos,
but that you were released on your own recognizance on those cases.
y que le habían puesto en libertad bajo palabra por esos casos.
Really?
Thank you, Mr. Herrera.
Gracias, señor Herrera.
Do you mind making an announcement, please?
Atención, si alguien más necesitará interpretación al español,
Eh.
por favor, levante su mano ahora.
I would not feel safe with that cop. That cop, he makes me
Thank you very
uncomfortable.
much. I think I see Mr. Cox. Mr. Cox, which case do you have?
I would not be
I
one
have
of,
Matthew Overton, Judge.
I would not want to be left alone with that
Can you get it
copper
real
right
quick?
there.
All right, and is Mr. Overton present?
He should be.
I
he is.
feel
There's
you.
Someone getting up back there, Judge.
Something about
See him
him.
putting
is
on
off.
his shirt maybe and coming up? Mr.
That'd be-
Overton, can you approach, please?
Next, Mr. Overton, come on down to The Price is Wrong. Please let Mr.
Judge, I was
Overton
just
through.
retained today on Mr. Overton's case. I don't know the facts. Can I ask what the case number is?
Yes.
25 CO.
Jules, thank you for
25
that
or
daily.
24?
I have 25 CO.
That's just the Polk County number since it's a violation of probation.
Thank you for that
and he's
daily.
not a-
Columbia.
Columbia.
24 CF
Ah, I hate them, Steven.
00
The worst.
569.
Burn them up, throw them in the trash.
What he's got to do, Judge?
It looks like from the
Why is he barefoot?
affidavit that he submitted to a test and it did not turn out well.
He didn't use the Wizinator. Come
Gotcha.
on,
So
you're
it's a
messing up.
violation case. I was told
It's-
there was a new charge too, possibly. Is there any new charges?
The only thing I have on my docket is a violation of probation for the Columbia case.
The
That's
Wizinator
why,
would have
Judge, I
been
know that
cheaper
he's
than
not
lawyer.
entitled to a bond in this case. I'd ask to set it over for the quickest date we can get, and I'll go ahead and file a motion for bond today or tomorrow on this case.
He had a
And I
GPA
have reviewed the
4.0.
arrest report and I do find probable cause for this charge. And right now, you're right, he is, his bond status is no bond.
Hey, there goes the wheeler. They're wheeling him
And I
away.
don't have a hearing date for him, but that's the situation, Mr. Cox, okay?
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. That's all I have. May I be excused?
Maricopa at
Absolutely.
11. You
Thank
know
you.
it.
Take care.
You too.
Hey, what up,
Thanks,
Raven?
Mr. Overton.
This
Are
should
there
be
any other
done
private
quickly.
attorneys? All right, we're going to switch to the South County jail cases. The
South
first
County.
case is Adam Allen.
Your defense will waive reading of the underlying charge.
Yes, ma'am.
South, here we go. Let's switch over to South here really quick.
All right, Mr. Allen, you're here on a violation of probation. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this live?
Originally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, and I have reviewed the violation of probation of arrest warrant and the violation
What up,
of
Vic?
probation affidavit, and I do find probable cause for the charge. Since this is an alleged violation of probation right now, your bond status is no bond. So that's the situation. Okay, Mr. Allen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Hey,
Who's here left?
does anybody know
The
if this
next
is
case
live
Eric Brewer.
or is this AI generated? This can't be live. Oh, they do have. That guy has socks. How does that whippersnapper
yeah.
got socks on?
Good afternoon, Mr. Brewer. It looks like you're
Hey,
here.
thank you, Teresa.
Because a capias was signed by another judge for violation of
Probably
pretrial
generated.
release conditions. I have reviewed that capias as well as the affidavit
It's
of
135.
alleged pretrial release violations in this case.
Socks and
And right
sliders.
now, it looks like your bond status is no bond. Let's see if the public defender.
PA.
Okay, the public defender is already assigned to represent you, and they'll continue to represent you at this time, okay?
The public defender is assigned to
Vegas.
represent me?
Perfect.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought they said public defender, but you have a private attorney,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, that was a surprise.
Sorry about that, I need to get my hearing checked. Thank you, sir.
Mine already has been. Thank you.
Hey, why she
Appreciate it.
being so nice to this
The
fool?
next case
She's
is
never
Matthew
nice.
Christian.
Look at that fool with his old socks. Yeah, fool had socks. That fool has favoritism.
All right, Mr. Christian, are you
Socks and
familiar with what
sandals.
you're charged with?
Yes.
Would you like to have me appoint the public defender to represent you in this case?
Right, Sancho?
I did have one appointed last time, so I don't know if I can still use the same one.
No, he has to pay for it.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. And I have reviewed the arrest report and I do find probable cause for the charge. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with GPS electronic monitoring and bail as conditions of pretrial release. You are not to be released until the GPS electronic monitor is affixed to your person. Thereafter, you need to report
Probably.
immediately upon your release to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person.
She's not reading up the
After
charges.
that, you need to report by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Your bail is set at $10,000. And you may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. Thank you, Mr. Christian. Please step to your left.
Thank
The
you.
next case
That
is
fool's
Clinton
happy.
Collins.
What's up with this fool wearing shorts and sandals? Let's see if she has the same energy for this
Mr.
guy.
Collins, you're charged with petty theft. Would you like
No.
for me to appoint the public defender to
Yep,
represent
something was
you?
up with those two guys.
Yes.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you, and I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charge. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $350. Once you're released,
said
you
this
need to
guy's
report to
charges.
Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow in person immediately.
Yes,
Thereafter,
ma'am.
thereafter, you need to report by phone every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You're to have no contact with any racetrack stores, and you must stay at least 500 feet away from the event location, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Please shift to your left. Next case is Matthew Klein. Yes, ma'am.
I see Matthew Klein over here with his socks, his sandal wearing sock self.
Mr. Klein, are you familiar with what you're charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Clarifying information, Your Honor. He actually was scheduled for a pretrial detention hearing this morning. It was continued because Public Defender's Office was appointed. And I had a chance to talk to the detective because the charges that he originally went through first appearance and today's affidavit are basically duplicates. I was able to talk to the detective to confirm this. The only count that is new before you today.
Hey, that's how they get down in Polk County, Florida.
Number, it's one that says 13.
Let me look.
On my docket, it
Hold
says,
on 1 second. My docket's not up.
Right, Amanda?
Okay, number 13.
my docket showing 9, 10, 11.
I just noticed the
9 through
CL20s.
16.
This docket only has 8.
If I may approach, I'll show you.
CL20s. Hey, how many people have you seen were in the CL20s? I never seen anybody doing their lives with
So that's the
CL20s.
only.
Is this live?
All the other charges have been addressed.
At
No,
first appearance.
none out here.
Correct. And that was before Judge Griffin on May 11th.
He's
So
getting
we're here on the
eyeballed.
one charge.
Convicted Pokemon
One
scalper.
moment.
So
Sheen Gators.
This is the only one that's new for today. The other ones he's already.
so you want me just to cross them out that they already dealt with?
That
We
would be
need.
appropriate,
Is
since
this a
they're
live stick, right?
duplicates.
I'm working
They've
on it.
already been dealt with, then, and we're only here on the one charge, then yeah, so there's no confusion.
The detective was surprised that they were treated as new charges instead of being treated as an amended affidavit.
Mimi.
Hopefully you talk to him about how to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Oh man,
The
that's
conversation
awful.
wasn't too
T.
long because I had to make sure I get to court on time. But
Okay.
What up,
Court was
Kimberly?
today.
the pre-trial detention hearing was this morning and then it got continued.
Yeah, they are in
So
the
I got
jail.
to court
That is
for you
correct.
Today, I had a call.
The person that wasn't in court,
Tell
they
me
were
about
handcuffed.
this charge that he's, the remaining charge that he's,
Over there.
the remaining charge that he's here on today.
What's that?
Just that based on the charge and the seriousness of it, even though it's filed as an attempt, the state would be requesting a bond of $15,000.
An attempt. An attempt at what?
I might have pointed out the wrong one. And it's difficult because I know we're referring to counts.
I circled it.
So make sure I'm looking at the right one.
Circle
Okay.
it.
He already has a PD for you.
Yes, they were appointed this morning.
That's a thank you.
All right. So what is the state asking?
For that account, I'm asked for a bond of $15,000.
Do you have the other conditions? His other conditions of, I assume he was put on pretrial release for other.
The order says he was, but I couldn't find a copy of it in Polk records online.
Because they're probably bad charges. The
That's
ones
fine.
that'll get them hurt.
Have access to a different system that may or may not have it, but however it works.
And for this specific charge, our number 13 on our docket, I'm going to require pretrial release, GPS, electronic monitoring, and bail as conditions of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $15,000. Once you are released, you need to report immediately to pretrial release services office in person in Bartow. But you're not to be released until the GPS monitor is affixed to your person. After you do your in-person initial report with pretrial release, thereafter you need to report by phone 7 days a week.
7?
week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your bail is set at $15,000 on this charge. Additionally, you may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. You're to have no contact with the victims in this case. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, school, place of employment at all times.
Your Honor, this one isn't an actual victim. It was part of a undercover investigation.
Oh, there it is. A
Take
sting.
out that last portion.
It was a sting.
But
Yep.
You are to have no intentional contact with minors.
Oh, there it is. Confirmed. Confirmed.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Please step to your
Enough
left.
said. Yep. Mimi. Sting.
Okay.
Get out of here with your sock wearing sandal self.
Moving on to the next case.
Why?
That is that one. Eddie Phillips.
Approaching, Your Honor.
Why is this whippersnapper? Why does he have a gray shirt on?
He's asking for probation.
Mr. Phillips, you are charged with violation of probation for case number 2025 CT 298. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Looking like
I
old
have
Burt Reynolds.
an attorney.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said I do have an attorney.
Is it the public defender?
No?
Is it a private
Whippersnapper.
attorney?
Yes.
Okay. This is Eddie Phillips.
Yes, he has a PD.
don't
So if you have a
disrespect
private
Burt.
attorney, they will continue to represent you in this case. I assume you, since you don't want me to appoint anyone else. Because it's an alleged violation of probation, your bond status is no bond. And I have reviewed the arrest warrant. I do find probable cause for this charge. So that's the situation, Mr. Phillips, okay?
Hey, do you guys love the TikTok shop or do you guys
Okay.
like the TikTok shop?
Thank you, sir. Please step to your left.
We used to say that
The
back in
next
the
case is
70s.
Jermaine Pierce.
That's what a whippersnapper looked like. Hey, I'm back.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
your name, Mr. Pierce? Good. It looks like a direct information was filed by the state attorney's office for a charge of criminal mischief, $200 or less, with a subsequent, and this is a subsequent offense, it says. Would you like for me to appoint public defender to represent you?
So they dropped the charge down?
I don't know what was before them before, but I only know what this charge is.
So what's this charge? Is it a misdemeanor or a felony? Because it was a felony before.
The felony.
So it's a misdemeanor now?
No, it's a felony. It's an F3. So, Mr. Pierce, the public defender has already been appointed to represent you in this case, and they will continue to represent you.
So I'm trying to figure out the officer came last night and said that they dropped the charge down.
Okay.
I don't have anything about that. I can only tell you what I've said 3 times, what
Be
we're
right
here
back.
for today, okay? So that's what the state attorney's office charged. I do note that the pretrial services office states that you have a significant number of previous failures to appear. So in this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $10,000. I'm also going to require GPS electronic monitoring as a condition of pretrial release. You're not to be released until the GPS electronic monitor is affixed to your person. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report every week by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Additionally, you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Take care. The next case is Anthony Roush.
Defense will be bringing.
Sorry, Your Honor, I don't mean to interrupt here, ma'am. I just want to make sure I didn't miss my case here. I'm here for Mr. Daniel Lopez.
I have not called Mr. Lopez yet. Are you a private attorney?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss him.
That's okay. I made a call earlier for private attorneys, but I'll jump back to you as soon as we're done with this case, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Roush, are you familiar with what you're being charged with?
No, ma'am.
Okay, is the bailiff there with the docket that they can show you because the PD's office asked that I show you the docket? Okay, have you had a chance to review those, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you like for me to appoint a public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you. And I have reviewed the arrest reports, and I do find probable cause for all of the charges. As to by all of the charges of violation of probation, your bond status is no bond. As to the new charge, I see the assistant state attorney standing before me. I assume you have something you want to tell me.
Yes, Your Honor. His co-defendant also came through first appearance yesterday. So I'll make similar arguments, and I let the court know what the judge did yesterday. Obviously, you have complete discretion to do whatever you wish. For the 2 capital felonies, the state is requesting no bond pursuant to the current bond schedule. For the 2 second-degree felonies, which I think should be 4 and 5 on your, actually, my docket says 1, 3, 4, 5. Anyway, the 2 second-degree felonies, yesterday, Judge Kaler did $50,000 per count with the following pretrial release conditions. No weapons, firearms, or ammunition, no contact with the co-defendants directly or indirectly, and a GPS monitor. We would ask that the court consider same or similar conditions, or if the court believes additional conditions of pretrial release are appropriate, or any elevated bonds, and the court should use that discretion.
All right. Is there anything the defense wants to tell me?
Nothing appropriate.
All right. In this case, sir, I'm going to require, as to the capital charges, I'm going to hold you no bond on those 2.
What this fool do?
As to the second-degree felonies, I'm going to require bail in the amount of $50,000 per count. As to the first-degree misdemeanors, I'm going to require bail in the amount of $2,000 on each count.
Hey, what up, Uncle?
I'm sorry.
Murder?
Hold on. The second-degree misdemeanor ones? Let's see.
We'd like to go
The one, that's the
misdemeanor.
one and
Red
two.
rum?
The 1 and 2.
So
Jesus.
then this will be done.
Hold on. Yeah, these are all,
Yes.
so your 5 is no bond,
Mm-hmm.
and there should be another one down towards the
Okay,
bottom.
right here.
At 15, I believe.
That is
no bond.
no bond.
And then the 50,000.
No, the 50,000. So 1 and 2 are 2,000. Those are the first degree misdemeanor. And then
It should be 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
4 and 5 are the
What?
50.
You mean 3 and 4?
He has, yes, our 3
Yeah,
and
we just
4. Everybody has different numbers.
Yeah.
It's difficult when we're not saying what charges are. Yes.
It's hard to
I'm
say,
going off the
Teresa, because
clerks.
everywhere is different.
So that we're all in the people who've got to do the paperwork, we know where we're at, okay?
Now you trying to get a bond on the wrong account.
Nobody, yeah. Nobody
double?
on the violations of probation.
Yes.
Okay.
Damn.
All right. I'm going to require GPS as a condition of pretrial release. You are
Car
not
wash
to be
last week?
released until, on the charges that I have set bail on, you're not to be released until the GPS electronic monitoring is affixed to your person. If you are released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report every week by phone, 7 days a week.
I got a question.
I'm not done yet. I'll come back to you.
My
Just
bad.
one. Still
I
one I'm missing.
apologize.
It's okay. I'm also going to require that you have no contact with the co-defendants in this case. Additionally, you may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. And you're to have no contact with the decedent's families or the witnesses in this case. Make sure I got all of my things here. Okay, yes, sir. What did you want to tell me?
I was gonna ask, so I could get a bond on a charge that does not have no bond? Like, could I in the future?
No.
So are you asking me the ones that where I said no bond, is it possible for you to get a bond in the future?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
that's up to the assigned judge if they have a motion in front of them, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Roush, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Next case is Thomas Shields.
Thomas Shields, come on down to the Price is Wrong.
Mr. Shields, you're charged with domestic violence battery prior conviction, domestic violence battery by strangulation, and domestic violence battery on a person 65 years of age or older. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Why?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, and I have reviewed the arrest warrant and complaint affidavit, and I do find probable cause for all of the charges. In this case, Mr. Shields, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is
Double
set
flush.
at $10,000 on each count. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. And you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. Thank you, Mr. Shields. Please step to your left.
Yes, ma'am.
The next case is Edwin Soto.
Edwin Soto, come on down to the Price is Wrong.
Mr. Soto, you're charged with robbery with a firearm or deadly weapon, armed burglary with assault or battery, armed kidnapping.
Damn.
Tampering and a felony life capital proceeding, possession of cocaine, and resisting or obstructing an
Yayo.
officer without violence. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case?
Why?
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for all of the charges. And I see that the assistant state attorney is approaching the podium.
Yes, Your Honor. The kidnapping and tampering are all life felonies pursuant to the bond schedule. It says requesting that the defendant be held no bond on those counts. Thank you.
Hey, Florida's definitely
Mr.
wild.
Soto, as to your possession of cocaine charge and resisting it
The
or obstructing an
Yayo.
officer without violence charge, I'm going to require a pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $10,000 on the cocaine possession charge and
Damn,
$1,000
Your Honor.
on the resisting or
Stop
obstructing
saying
an
that.
officer without violence charge. Once you're released, you need to report
Normal
to
day here in
release the
Orlando.
pretrial release services office in Bartow in person immediately.
This is
Thereafter,
Polk
you
County.
need to report by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You're to have no contact with the victims in this case. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. You also have to stay at least 500 feet away from the event location. And you have to submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay
Yes,
for.
Baker. It's actually running right now on
The state has asked
YT.
that on the robbery, armed burglary with assault or battery, armed kidnapping, and tampering in a life felony,
Damn.
life capital proceeding charge,
wow.
that on those charges that I hold you no bond. And I do hold you no bond on those charges right now. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Soto. Please step to your left. The next case is Robert Thompson.
It's posted at CollectCallFrom. Just look up at CollectCallFrom.
Understand, Mr. Thompson, you're charged with resisting or obstructing an officer without violence, possession of cannabis under 20 grams, disorderly conduct, possession or use of narcotics paraphernalia, and a violation of probation in case number 2023 CF 010213. The underlying charge is driving while license suspended or revoked. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, Your Honor.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you on this case. I have reviewed the violation arrest warrant and violation of probation affidavit and the other arrest report, and I do find probable cause for all of the charges. On the violation of probation charge, your bond status is no bond. But as to the new charges, I'm going to require a pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $2,000 on the resisting or obstructing an officer without violence charge, $2,000 on the cannabis charge, $1,000 on the paraphernalia charge, and $250 on the disorderly conduct charge. Once you're released, you need to report to the pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you must submit to random urinalysis. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Please step to your left.
Have a blessed day.
Hey, so I'm going to switch over to Maricopa
You say 250.
once this one's done.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you want to watch Maricopa, I am running it on
All right,
YT on its own stream,
Nathaniel Toothman.
Yes, ma'am.
if you will.
1 second, Mr.
Maricopa's
Toothman.
running on YT right now.
Did it go in?
Yeah, I don't know why it's.
It's okay.
So if you want to watch Maricopa, jump on over
All
to
right,
at
Mr. Toothman,
CollectCallFrom on
looks like
YT.
you're here on a KPS from case number 2025 MM2497. The underlying charge is petty theft, and it looks like you failed to appear at your arraignment. So a KPS was issued, but the judge who issued it said that you could be released on your own recognizance if you provide us a good address. Do you want to provide us a good address?
The address they have on file for me is a good address. I was just in jail. I've been in jail since April 1st, or April 3rd, I mean.
Okay, well, hold on 1 second. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I have reviewed the KPS and I do find probable cause for this charge. All right, I guess the only thing that worries me is if they have that on file and Judge Cole said, well, you know, that, hey, I'll ROR you with a good address, and they already had that address, that leads me to believe that they think that's not a good address. Do you not have a mailbox there, or?
Hey, what is can I ask the address they have? Do you have that?
You're pulling it up. Hang on 1 second.
You going to let me out or not, Your
Or
Honor?
do we have like?
You asked me for a
what
good
that
address, I
return,
gave
if
it to
there's
you.
No mail receptacle, or there's.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they posted up in pics if the mail came back.
Maricopa hasn't started yet. For those of you that want to jump on over, I got it. I'm looking at it on another screen right now.
Let's clerk has something different. It's 6641. It's that report.
Mute
They're
that,
saying
James.
6641,
Yeah, that's the
Got
one
it.
we have to.
an address in Davenport. Is that the one you're talking about, Mr. Toothman?
No, ma'am. I was saying 1817 Lake Brown Drive in Haines City.
Where?
1817 Lake, what drive?
Lake Brown Drive in Haines City.
Lake Brown, you said?
Lake Brown Drive, Brown like the color in Haines City,
Yes, ma'am.
33844.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's have a
33844.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you for providing that, Mr. Toothman, and you will be released on your own recognizant.
Ma'am, may I address one question, please?
I don't know if I can answer it, but you can ask me quickly.
I'm in here for another charge right now as an unrelated charge. Even though I'm being ROR'd on this charge, will this time still count until I get out before that charge?
That's something you can talk to your attorney about, okay?
Yes,
Because that's
ma'am.
going to take a little bit of time to discuss, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Toothman. All right. Let's go over to the females at Central County Jail, unless there's anyone left at South County.
Did somebody say
I don't see anyone left.
females?
Let's go to Mariah Bateman.
Mariah
Defense will waive
Bateman.
briefing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Do you want me to sign that one?
Oh, sorry. I'll jump on next date.
Fluid, you missed.
All right. Miss Bateman, are you aware of what you're charged with?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you, and I have reviewed the citation and arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charges. In this case, ma'am, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $7,500 on the third-degree felony and $1,000 on the first-degree misdemeanor. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm also going to require a curfew of 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. Thank you, Ms. Bateman. Please step to your left. The next case is Azia Fluid.
Good afternoon.
If I'm a victim of it and trying to be here, what do I have to do?
What is it are you wanting to tell me something?
I want to not press the charges.
Okay, that's something you're going to need to see the state attorney's office about, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Lute, you're charged with domestic violence, battery, and false imprisonment. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for both charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release.
Mills.
Bail is set at $5,000 on each count. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives, and you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. Thank you, Ms. Fluid. Please step to your left.
Hey, she's a writer right there. She's with the business.
I'm sorry.
Hey, thank you for that follow. Highly appreciate that,
I
Riley.
did forget him. I'm so sorry.
WTF. Hey, thank
I'm
you.
so sorry. We have a private attorney, and
Brando.
I meant to go back to you, and I did not. Can you remind me which case you're here on?
He's here for Lopez Day.
Lopez, is our private attorney still here?
Yes, ma'am, for Daniel Lopez.
Lopez, whatever.
Between courtrooms. So let me get to him real quick. Daniel Lopez, you're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and your attorney is present. I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for this charge. What would your attorney like to tell me?
Yes, ma'am. We have not had a chance yet to review the arrest report there. We would simply ask for standard bond here.
All right. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $6,000. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
This
You
is
may
Florida.
not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. And you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times.
Not yet,
Thank
Linda.
you both very much. Have
My
a good
wife's
day.
making them right now.
Thank you.
Hey, if you want to watch Maricopa,
Thank you, ma'am. That's all for me. Can I be excused?
Maricopa is running on YT right now. If you want to watch Maricopa, at CollectCallFrom on YT. If you want to watch it, I'll start Maricopa over here on this side
Let me figure out where
as
I
soon as
was
Discord is
before.
over. From Bartow.
All right, Brittany Mills. Are you
Where's that
Brittany
at?
Mills?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take you here for a warrant from Hillsborough County on a failure to appear on a no valid driver's license. And because this is an out-of-county case, I cannot appoint a public defender to represent you.
As well.
Hmm?
They want to read the comments.
Hold on one second.
Hold up. OMG, really? Where is this? This is Polk County, Florida,
Okay.
in the state of Florida.
And they have at least, I have the bond, 250. You doing something different?
Hey, don't forget to hit that follow button. It's free
All right,
99.
Hillsborough County set your bond at $250, and I have reviewed the arrest report and the warrant teletype confirmation, and I do find probable cause for this charge. If you're still in custody, May 22nd, if Hillsborough hasn't picked you up by then you'll be brought back to first appearance.
Hold on,
here,
let me make
okay?
it so smaller. Hold
Yes,
on,
ma'am.
hold on.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mills. The next case is Heaven Mondragon.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that better?
Ma'am, you're charged
Or is
with
this better?
possession or use of drug paraphernalia, battery on a person detained in a
Thank you,
prisoner
Angel.
jail facility, possession of cannabis under 20 grams, and possession of methamphetamine. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you on these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you, and I have reviewed the KPS, the state attorney's office information, and the arrest reports, and I do find probable cause on these charges.
Bagels, hopefully. Hey, Doughboy, gracias for that follow.
And you also have a violation of probation charge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask the state about that one because I only have the first sheet on the arrest report for that one. I don't have the narrative on that one. But as to the new charges, and we'll
What up, Taylor?
circle back to the violation of probation charges. That's to the new charges. I do find probable cause on each of the new charges.
Shout out
And I'm
from
going to require
Tampa,
pretrial
Florida.
release with
That's
bail
right.
as condition of pretrial release. On the new charges,
Jules, thank you.
your bail is set at $1,000 on the
Manatee
paraphernalia
County.
charge, $5,000 on the battery by a person detained in a jail or prison facility charge, $2,000 on the cannabis charge, and $6,000 on the methamphetamine charge. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow
Blue versus
immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You're also to submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. You're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, school, place of employment at all times. Let me hear from the state attorney's office.
Hey, I
or
think
from
she's single.
pretrial
Anybody interested?
Clerk's office, if anybody has any more
Single,
information
ready
on
to
that violation of
mingle.
probation charge, because I only have the first sheet of it.
What up, Jennifer?
I don't know if Officer McKinney.
Is Officer McKinney from the Department of Corrections?
There he is.
Yes, ma'am. What can I help you with?
Oh, let's see him.
I don't have the second page of the report of the arrest report on the violation
damn,
of
he turned up.
probation
Oh, there he is.
charge. What?
Do you
I
have
don't know
a-
how.
Is it this?
Do you have
Hold
the
on.
name and DC number, Your Honor?
Hold on 1 second. I got 2 people talking to me.
Okay. Take your time, Your Honor.
Maybe the clerk's office has the full thing.
GTO love.
Okay, and you're gone. But the one that's the violation of probation, is there a second sheet to that? If you
Thank you
keep
for the
going,
daily. What up, make money?
can I do it?
Oh, yeah, you could, I think it's a, I guess not.
So I just made it blue. Can you go? I'm just trying to make sure that's one report. Because mine was, it only had the first sheet. Okay, Go up one more. Okay, well, no, it looks like, well,
Oh, thank you.
flip up, maybe it has it in there. And then keep going.
Got burritos this morning.
Yeah, hold on 1 second, let me see if it's anywhere. Can you go up a little more? I've read that, that's from the other one, keep going. Here we go. All right, I read it, the clerk's office has it on their screen, it just for some reason it wasn't when I was reviewing the information in the pretrials folder today. I do find probable cause for the violation of probation charge as well. And as to that count, ma'am, you're going to be held no bond at this time, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, please step to your left. Next case is Kelly Norman.
Here we go. Before somebody starts complaining, yeah, I can't see
Ms.
nothing.
Norman,
They're
you're
so
charged
small.
with resisting or obstructing an officer without violence and possession of methamphetamine. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, and I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release.
What the hell is she doing to her leg?
$5,000 on the methamphetamine charge and $1,000 on the drug paraphernalia charge. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office.
I don't know about no drug paraphernalia.
Ma'am, are you? I'm sorry, I was talking.
I'm sorry. I just didn't know about no paraphernalia. I didn't know about any of that.
Puppy pimples on her
Okay, well,
legs.
that's why I told you what your charges were.
Did she just lick her hand?
Yeah, and that's what I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't understand. I didn't have nothing in that car, and there was no paraphernalia as far as I know.
Okay,
There was
well,
nothing.
what I hear you saying is that you disagree and that you think you've got some meritorious defenses when you get to the trial. And that's certainly something that can be presented at trial or that your, attorney can
just lost my
raise for
appetite.
you. All right, but we're at probable cause, and I do find probable cause for these charges. All right, can I put?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I was in the middle of stating what I was going to require for your pretrial release conditions. So let me say them again. I'm going to require pretrial
Thank you for
release
that hat.
with bail as a condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $1,000 on
Where's
the
the burrito?
resisting an officer without violence charge. I'm sorry, hold on. And $5,000 on the possession of methamphetamine charge, okay? Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You also must submit to random urinalysis. And Ms. Norman, you can certainly get with your attorney about your defenses, okay? Thank you, ma'am. Next case is Harley Ann Sykes. Ms. Sykes, you're charged with use or possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of cannabis under 20 grams, and I'm going to have a question for the state about that. Possession of methamphetamine and knowingly driving while license suspended or revoked, third or subsequent offense. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
Provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. And at least as to all the charges except for the cannabis over 20 grams, I do find probable cause for those charges. As on the possession of cannabis over 20 grams, and I'm directing this question to the state attorney's office, am I missing a weight that shows it's over 20 grams, the cannabis?
I don't see one in the affidavit, Your Honor. I am not asking for 24 hours.
You are not asking for 24 hours, you're just asking for, all right.
That's the lesson.
All right. So, Ms. Sykes, I don't find based on the affidavit that the cannabis was over 20 grams and the state is not asking for 24 hours to get an amended affidavit. But I do find probable cause as to the lesser of possession of cannabis under 20 grams.
Oh, no, Bingo's mom. Oh, I just got a
All right.
visual of
So
Dr.
I'm going
Pimple
to
Popper.
require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $2,000 on the drug paraphernalia charge, $2,000 on the cannabis charge, and $7,500 on each of the remaining two charges. Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
She's
You're
reflecting
also
on her life.
to submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Thank you, Ms. Dykes. Please step to your left. Yes, 2,000 on the misdemeanors and 7,500 on the other two charge on the felonies.
I'm sorry.
Sorry? That's the possession of cannabis is under 20. I didn't find probable cause for that. I only found it as to the left.
Up next is the
Yeah, so
pimple
it's
popper.
Yeah.
Hey, look at her mouth movement. She's definitely on a good one right
Yes,
now.
ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. Oops, I'm sorry. Nope, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
You're so good. All right.
Okay.
Ain't nobody want none of that right there. Relax,
Next
relax,
case is
deputy,
Ashley Woods.
sheriff.
Is her? Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Woods, you're charged in this case with violation of injunction for protection against domestic violence battery. Would you like for me to appoint a public defender to represent you?
Yes, please.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you, and I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charge. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $5,000. Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
What the hell is
You
she
may
doing
not
now?
use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives, and you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, school, place of employment at all times. You cannot contact the victim in any way, shape, or form. Thank you, Ms. Woods. Please step to your left.
Thank you.
This way.
All right, we're going to switch to the males at Central County Jail. First case is Joel Alberti Diaz.
Step up here.
Up next on The Price is Wrong. Let's see what it is going to be. Should be interesting. So far, it's been pretty
All right, sir,
interesting
you're
cases
charged
here
with
in
no
Florida.
valid driving without a valid driver's license and possession of cannabis resin. Would you like for me to appoint public defender to represent you?
Resin?
Yes.
I originally appoint public defender to represent you, and I have reviewed the arrest report and citations, and I do find probable cause for all the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Bail is set at $6,000 on the possession of cannabis resin charge and $250 on the no valid driver's license charge. Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report by phone
These
twice
are
a
other
week,
stories.
every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You also must submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Thank you, sir. Please step to your left. The next case is Michelangelo Aliferi.
Michelangelo.
Yes, ma'am.
Charged with burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, criminal mischief, $1,000 or more, and petty theft and possession of burglary tools with intent to use them. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, and I have reviewed the arrest warrant and complaint affidavit, and I do find probable cause for all the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of
Donatello
pretrial
got
release.
away.
Your bail is set at $7,500 on the burglary charge, $5,000 on the F3 criminal mischief, $1,000 or more charge, $250 on the petty theft charge, and $5,000 on the possession with a burglary tools charge. Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report every week by phone 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives, and you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, school, place of employment at all times. You also must stay 500 feet away from the event location. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
What up, Joey?
Please step to your left.
Where you been at?
Next case is Christopher Bell.
She is wearing a cowboy hat. She is. Glitch in the Matrix.
Mr. Bell, you're charged with loitering or prowling. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes.
Provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, and I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charge.
They're in jail
In
already.
this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $300. Once you are released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the event location. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Good luck to you.
Hey, hope things get better for you, Joey.
Marvin Carter.
Poor Vato doesn't look good. Órale, papi.
Mr. Carter, you're charged with domestic violence battery. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
What?
Yes, ma'am.
Provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, and I have
What up,
reviewed
Fern Dog?
the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for this charge. I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $5,000. Once you are released, you need to report immediately to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives, and you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, school, place of employment at all times.
Can't
Thank
hear.
you, Mr. Carter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next case is Isaiah.
Is that Carrot Top right there? That looks like Carrot Top.
All right.
Last time I saw him, he wasn't doing too good.
Hey, sir. Come on, right here.
Hurry up.
Right there.
Right there, boy.
Are you charged with possession of cannabis not more than 20 grams and possession of drug paraphernalia? Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release and bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $1,500 on the cannabis charge, and
Wheel of
$1,000
misfortune.
on the drug paraphernalia charge. Once you are released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You also must submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Please step to your left. Next case is Jason Fussell.
And they got sandals on. It looks like they don't have anything on, but they got those old sandals from LA County. Those things are freaking hard.
Mr. Fussell, you're charged with domestic violence battery with a prior conviction. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, and I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charge. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at, can you pull up this, the recommendation real quick? I just want to make sure I have something right on there. Oh, that one. Yep, okay. And then the arrest report real quick.
So the people for pretrial, they gotta check in. It's kind of like probation, and they gotta call in, or they have a GPS or both, which is kind of wild if you think about it. GPS, and I gotta call you. Like, make that make sense. That's a recipe for violation right there. No, this is Florida. You're thinking about Maricopa County, but yeah, they don't do that in Maricopa
Your bail
anymore.
is set at $6,000. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services in Bartow immediately upon your arrest.
I got a
in
probation
person.
today. Hell yeah,
Thereafter,
hey,
you
that's
need
what's
to
up.
report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Because I
You may
switched
not
over from
use, possess,
Arizona.
or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. And you also must have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, school, place of employment at all times. You cannot contact the victim in any way, shape, or form. Thank you, Mr. Fussell. Good luck to you. Next case is Ivan Galvin Redstone.
What's up with Ivan with a gray shirt?
It looks like you're here on a CAPIAS related to case number 2025 CF574. It was a failure to appear for pretrial. And I know we need to set a 5-day hearing on this one. Is that the date?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, thank
Would you
you.
like for me to appoint is the
He already
public?
has one.
All right, you already have the public defender appointed, so they'll continue to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the KPS. I do find probable cause for the charge. And right now, the KPS has your status as no bond, so that's the situation. We'll go for a hearing before the assigned judge on May 21st at 8:30 a.m. All right?
All right.
Thank you, sir. Next case is Christopher Galvin.
I don't think any of them are getting out. I haven't heard them say OR. And Arizona's currently going on right now. But just we're watching this.
Gaskin. Sorry, Mr. Sorry,
Gaskin.
Mr. Gaskin. Christopher Gaskin.
5 million. I was about to
All
spit
right,
my
so
water
you're
out
charged
imperfectly
with
perfect.
Resisting or obstructing an officer without violence, driving while licensed, suspended or revoked as a habitual traffic offender. And then you've got
Arizona's
you've
muted.
got several charges of violation of probation related to case number 2024 CF 6851. 4 of those counts. Would you like for me to appoint public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
Provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you, Mr. Gaskin. And I do find probable cause for all of the counts after reviewing their arrest reports and the citation. As to the violations of probation charges, those 4, your bond status is no bond. As to the new charges of resisting or obstructing an officer without violence and driving while license suspended or revoked, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as a condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set on the felony driving while license suspended or revoked as a habitual traffic offender
I
charge
can't
at
hear. Thank you.
$8,000. Your bail is set at $1,000 on the resisting or obstructing an officer charge. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you, Mr. Gaskin. Good luck to you.
Have a great day.
Dang, that fool don't care. That fool's all happy.
This is Cristobal Gomez.
He's like, man, I'm gonna get 3 meals a day. I got these shorts and these sandals. What else do I need?
Mr. Gomez, it looks like you are here in case number 2024 CF7214 for 3 counts of violation of probation. And I have a question for the state.
3.
This has a page I don't have.
Put your hand down, boy.
My copy is not, doesn't have the.
Herman Munster.
It says see your ad on a
3, yeah, 3.
page, but I don't have it
Don't act all surprised now.
for his.
Acting all brand new, committing all those crimes. 3. Who cares? You did 1, 2, or 3. I've been watching a good minute. I enjoy. Hey, thank you, Alyssa. Ice Immigration. Gracias for the follow. Hey, Kyle, thank you for the, or Kylie, thank you for the follow. I highly appreciate that. 3 too many.
This, and is this what you're looking for?
Well, no, because if you go see, look, you know how.
Ashley, thank you for the follow. Cody, thank you for the follow. Nelly, thank you for the follow. La Migra. What up, H-Bam? How you been?
I don't have one that's notarized.
And if you haven't done
And it
so,
says
please
the
do so.
attached jurat,
Hit
and
that
I
follow button. It's free
I don't have a
99.
notary and I don't have a jurat.
Don't be a Mr. Krabby Patty. Don't be a Scrooge McDuck. It's free for you. It's free for me.
It's basically a notary. So it's good. I don't have either one of those.
Spider.
Unless you have something I don't have.
This is all I have.
Pre-trial doesn't have
James,
it
you're so
either.
funny. I need that. Made
Yeah,
me
all the
laugh.
arrest
Made
reports
my
have to
day.
have
Hey,
that.
thank you.
That's why you always do the law enforcement notary.
I'm glad I could help you laugh with other
So,
people's misery, if you will.
Nobody has
Drop
any
that daily
paperwork
heart.
with
Thank
anything
you.
different than what I have seen, Mr. Gomez. So I'm gonna give the, right now, I don't find it's not a.
Hey, thank you, Jill, for buying that subscription.
report
Highly
doesn't
appreciate
meet
it.
the requirements, so I'm gonna ask that you be brought back tomorrow. I'm gonna give the state 24 hours to get an amended report, okay?
Is this live?
So you'll see the judge tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sorry for the inconvenience.
Or is this AI generated? This is a different page because I know.
I'm gonna give him 24 hours.
Yeah, Cody,
to submit
I got 2 accounts.
the
You're on the big
reports
account
that
here.
notarize this. It's
Emily,
really-
thank you for the follow.
3.
All right, next case is Demario Green.
This is the small account. Oh, I got to charge on my
Next,
phone.
all right, Mr. Green, you're charged with violation of injunction for protection against domestic violence. Would you like for me to appoint a public defender to represent you?
No, ma'am.
Did somebody say
Did you
mustache?
say no?
Yes, ma'am. No.
So you don't want one?
No, ma'am.
I was just making sure I heard you. Okay, and if you change your mind, you can always ask the assigned judge to consider appointing a public defender, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
That was said I'm going pro
I have
per.
reviewed the arrest report and I do find probable cause for the charge. In this case, I'm going to require a pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release, Mr. Green. Your bail is set at $5,000. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office immediately in person in Bartow. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives, and you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. Yes, sir.
We have minor children with each other. That was in the original injunction, which that's why it was used, the Talking Parent app, when that message was sent, only because that there's been the issues with my daughter that I had no information on. And that's what the app I was using to communicate with my wife regarding the situation. And there's nothing I can do about it because she won't allow me to really talk to my kids. But I have no injunction against my kids.
And what I'm hearing you say is that you think you've got a meritorious defense. And your attorney can go over with you the arrest report, but it includes alleged copies of the messages from that.
My leg went to
from
sleep.
that application that did not relate to child care, did not relate to
I was
your
stuck there
children.
for a moment.
So sounds like you got a lot to talk to your attorney about. Okay.
But the question is about my kids, because it said that I can't have no contact, but me and her both work at the same place. And that's what the modified was, because I haven't been nowhere near her. I made multiple police reports and she came near me. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do that work for me, because
this is a
That's
family
something you
court.
can talk to your attorney about. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Green. Next case is Khalif Harris.
Not the time to plead your case, if you will. I can't hear
Mr.
nothing.
Harris, you're charged with possession or
talk
use of
too
drug
much.
paraphernalia charge in possession of methamphetamine. Would you like to would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to
This is
represent
Polk.
you in this case. But Mr. Harris, the pretrial services says you have a significant number of failures to appear. So and I have reviewed the arrest report and I do find probable cause for the charges. So in this case, I'm going to require a pretrial release with GPS electronic monitoring and bail as a condition of pretrial release because they're reporting 11 failures to appear.
I appreciate you guys.
Failures appears. There's a couple of them failure, about 4 of them failure appears that I have nothing to even involved with. I was incarcerated during the time they said that was failure to appear, so they shouldn't be on there. I say about 7 of them I might have at the most is what I got. And 11, that's really crazy. I don't know why that is. I mean, I've even been in here before, and they sent me downstairs to get fingerprinted for a charge over in Sarasota for driving on suspended license when I wasn't even ever in Sarasota.
Okay, well, I'm glad I appointed the public defender then, because that's something you can talk to about with them, and if those are not accurate, then they can file the appropriate motion for the judge that is assigned to the case to consider lowering your bail, okay?
Sniffy
But right
stickers
now,
is
I'm going to
wild.
require, I did find probable cause for all the
What up,
charges,
girl?
and I am going to require bail and GPS electronic monitoring as a condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set on the possession of methamphetamine charge at $7,500. Your bail is set on the drug paraphernalia charge at $1,000. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person immediately. And you may not be released until the GPS electronic monitor has been affixed to your person.
May I ask
After
for a
Hold on, not right now, and I'm still talking. So after you have your GPS electronic monitor fixed and you go and do your first initial in-person report to pretrial release, thereafter you need to report every week by phone 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You also must submit to random your analysis that you're required to pay for. And it sounds like, Mr. Harris, you were asking about bond reduction. Certainly something your attorney can file the appropriate motion in front of the assigned judge, okay?
Sure.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harris. Next case is Jeffrey Hartman.
Damn, hey, Florida's definitely a lot more interesting than Maricopa, if you will.
Today.
Okay, Mr. Hartman, you're charged with misuse of 911 or E911 system. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
No.
Okay, if you change your mind, you can always ask the assigned judge to consider appointing them, okay?
Thank you.
All right. I have reviewed the arrest report in this case, and I do find probable cause for the charge. I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release.
Hey, what up,
Your
Lynn?
bail is set at $1,000. Once you're released, you need to report immediately to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person, right away.
What up,
Thereafter,
country?
you need to report every week by phone to pretrial release services on Thursdays. So just on Thursdays. Thank you, sir. Please step to your left.
I wonder
I'm
what
just curious,
Carrot Top did.
Is this going to be written down because I had a really bad head injury when I was 16?
It's on your PR.
Oh, it is. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Should
sir.
I go
You
through
take
this
care.
story? Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right.
You got a
Thank you.
TMI,
All right,
if
next
you will.
case is Caleb Hernandez.
And you know what? That's what we're trying to figure out. Is anybody from Florida, have you ever been in this jail? If you could give us
Did you raise me again?
some information on what the colors mean here. What
All
does
right,
gray
Mr.
tops
Hernandez,
mean?
you are charged with violation of probation, leaving the scene of a crash, leaving the scene of a crash without rendering aid, and the crash involved injury, fleeing or attempting to elude an officer,
Thank
and
you for that,
operating a motor vehicle without a registration. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
Provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the arrest report and the citations, and I do
Didn't
find
receive their
probable cause
stickers
for all
yet.
the charges. As to the violation of probation, because it's an alleged violation of probation right now, your bond status is no bond on those. But as to the new charges, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $5,000 on the F3, leaving the scene of a crash involving injury without rendering aid.
Thank you for that daily heart.
$2,000 on the fleeing or attempting to elude, and $250 on the operating a vehicle without a motor vehicle registration. Once you are released, you need to report to pretrial
These
release
are
services
stickers.
office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone 2 times a week, every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you, sir. Please step to your
Laverne in
left.
the house. That's right. Is that
Next
Laverne
case
by
is
San
Carmen
Dimas?
Hudson.
Dripping paint art. That's right. I like that.
Hudson Bonded.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir. All right.
Hudson Bonded.
Off of the
They sent the
210
email- they sent the
freeway.
email to I wanted.
James,
Well,
please make a
he
hoodie
probably
someday.
told me
I
that.
do.
That's-
I am.
that's it.
I'm gonna get on
All
it.
right. Sorry about that, Deputy. I wanted to I missed that. You told me. All right. The next case is Shamal Hunter.
This is a Polk County, Florida court. We're watching initial
Hunter,
appearances.
It looks like you're here on a warrant from Miami-Dade on a violation of probation charge. And you're also here on a new charge of resisting or obstructing an officer without violence. As to the Polk County new charge, would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you on the resisting an officer without violence charge. And as to both charges, I have reviewed the arrest report and the warrant confirmation teletype, and I do find probable cause for both charges. Right now, your bond status is no bond on the violation of probation charge. But as to the new charge, I I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $2,000 on the resisting officer without violence charge. Once you're released, you need to report immediately to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And your bail is set at $2,000 on that count. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Please step to your left. Next case is Pancho Ryan Anthony Jaquez.
All right, let's see. Let's see what this guy's up for.
All right, sir, you are charged with loitering or prowling, possession or use of drug paraphernalia, and possession of methamphetamine. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you,
welcome.
and I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for all of the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $5,000 on the methamphetamine charge, $1,000 on the drug
Yeah.
paraphernalia charge, and $250 on the loitering or prowling charge. Once you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You also must submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Good luck to you, sir.
Vayas con
Next
Dios.
case is Dwayne Knowles.
He's approaching.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Mr. Knowles, it looks like you're here for an order regarding case number 2024 CF7414. There was a capias issued in that case due to another charge. So right now your bond status is no bond. Does he have the public defender? Okay.
Ma'am, I came to court yesterday, and they told me that they was gonna go ahead and get a hold of my paid lawyer, and he was supposed to be here today. I was wondering what happened.
Well, the clerk's telling me you have a public defender on this case.
Okay, 2 days ago I came.
This is gonna be
here,
good.
and
This is gonna be
what
good.
My public defender case is about. The one yesterday was pretrial release violation, and that's what I was supposed to be here today for, is to have my lawyer here to talk to defend me.
Okay, so the clerk's telling me that you have a motion in to withdraw your attorney, and they were assuming that it was they didn't know if it was a public defender or private attorney, so it could be a private attorney. But whichever attorney you have on the case will represent you on this case right now, okay?
So that way. Man, y'all ignorant.
Is anybody seeing my
And I did
comments?
find probable cause for it, and it's no bond. All right, next case is Andre Lomax.
Oh.
That's
Good
what you're.
afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
I think he
Good
passed,
afternoon.
I want to say.
All right, it looks like you have a fugitive from justice warrant from the United States Marshals Service on a violation of probation charge and the underlying charge. Are you
You're
aware of
welcome.
what the underlying charge is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you like for me to appoint a public defender to represent you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, if you change your mind, you can always
said-
ask me.
You say the underlying charge is like domestic violence?
No, I asked you if you knew what it was and you said yes, but it's
Florida.
sale of cocaine.
Oh,
The
yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yayo.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
thought
did
it was like
that.
the new charge I had caught or something.
No, but it's violation of probation on that, sale of cocaine charge. And you said you did not want me to appoint the public defender, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I have reviewed the arrest report and the warrant confirmation teletype, and I do find probable cause for the charge. Because it's an alleged violation of probation right now, your bond status is no bond. So that's the situation, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Situation,
Thank
you
you,
say?
Mr. Lomax. Please step to your left.
Have a
The
good
next
one.
case, you too. Next case is Patrick McReynolds.
Maybe they got money to hire their own lawyers. I know I wouldn't be able to afford my own lawyer. I'm gonna be at the court's mercy with a public pretender.
You were charged with
Thank you for that daily.
failure owner or operator to maintain required insurance, unlawful possession of suspended or revoked driver's license, tampering with physical evidence, resisting or obstructing an officer without violence, possession or use of drug paraphernalia, possession of methamphetamine, and knowingly driving while license suspended or revoked, third or subsequent conviction. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, please.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the citations in the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for all the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $250 on the failure to maintain required insurance, $250 on the unlawful possession of suspended or revoked driver's license, $6,000 on the tampering with physical evidence charge, $1,000 on resisting or obstructing an officer without violence, $1,000 on the drug paraphernalia charge, $5,000 on the possession of methamphetamine charge, and $5,000 on the knowingly driving while license suspended or revoked.
It's a long story, Ryan. It's a long
Once
story.
you're released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also must submit to random urinalysis. Mr. McReynolds.
Thank you.
Next case is just Jordan Mullins. Jordan Mullins.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mullins. It looks like you're here because there was a KPS issue for case number 2024 CF 367. All of those underlying accounts because of a failure to appear at mandatory docketing. To see if the public defender
The CA.
is on.
The CA. Court reporter.
He is sorry. It looks like, Mr. Mullins, you have a court-appointed attorney, and that attorney will continue to represent you in this matter, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And I have reviewed the KPS, and I do find probable cause for all of the counts. The KPS sets you right now, your bond status at no bond. So that's the situation right now, okay?
Is this
Just
live?
going to stay at no bond with me being incarcerated.
You're gonna
I've been
stay no
incarcerated 9
bond.
years.
You're gonna stay no bond right now, and then your attorney can always file the appropriate motion in front of the assigned judge, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Will I be back next week or anything like that anytime soon?
I don't think you go back till the 27th, May 27th.
Carrot Top's still there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Mullins, good luck. Next case is Randy Nuzzo.
Oh, my light turned off.
All right, Mr. Nuzzo, you're charged with 2 counts of domestic violence battery. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
No, I have one.
You have your own attorney?
Yeah, I just can't call him. I just got a hold of one and I have one. And I have.
Okay. All right. I have reviewed the arrest report in this case, and I do find probable
They got shoes
cause
on.
for the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as a condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $6,000 on each count. Once you are released, you need to report to pretrial release services office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives. You're to have no contact with the victim. You cannot contact the victim in any way, shape, or form. And you have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim, the victim's residence, vehicle, place of employment, and school at all times. Additionally, you may not.
Oh, what her cowboy hat?
Possess or consume alcohol or enter any bars or lounges, and you must submit to random breath tests that you're required to pay for.
They are wearing
Thank you,
shorts.
Mr. Nuzzo.
Can I speak with you a minute? To
No.
explain something?
This is not your trial. This is the probable cause. I'm here to, I'm here
I
to
can't-
review. I'm talking, hold on. You heard the 3 purposes, and so we've gone through those 3
This guy.
purposes, okay?
Yeah, I was wondering if I could make a statement. I mean, to do it in my behalf because of the situation.
What situation?
If you're, all right, let's hear it. And if you're telling me, if you're going
I-
to tell me your facts of your case. It's not
Yeah, the
something
facts-
that I'm going to hear, but go ahead.
There's police reports on it. The facts of the case is she came to the house twice. It's not been staying there. Now I have no vehicle, came and took two. I reported it. 2 sets of keys, one to my car, one to my truck. Left me vandalized, with no vehicle. Now then I get arrested, and then she also filed, which you're already doing, this is a woman that's, if you've fought this case before, has to do with fighting over the house. She's pressing charge of using the law to do this. I will fight this in court with the lawyer. But meantime, I have to do all this. I have no transportation to do all this. She has 2 sets of keys. She has her own truck, has my car keys and
She
my
don't
truck
care.
keys. I reported this. She denies it. I tried to talk to my attorney. My attorney said, you have to do this.
Sir,
writ
step to your
something. It's
left.
a Spanish word for, she said that take forever. So she said, basically just have a new set made up, which I get. Okay, I was going to do.
What I'm hearing you say, Mr. Nuzzo, is that you don't agree with the charges and that you feel like you've got some charges or some actions against the victim in this case. And that's not before me today.
It has to do with my transportation. How am I going to get to these places?
She
Even
don't
to leave-
care.
to leave
I
the
don't
house to go to
care.
My mother's.
Right, but that's not something that
You
I
ring the
help
bell.
you with.
She
That's
lives
something
all-
that's something you have to talk to your attorney about. All right, thank you, Mr. Nuzzo. Please step to your left. The
no
next
way you
case
can
is
call my
Joe Phillips.
Gotta call
Mr. Phillips is making his way forward. Mr. Phillips, it looks like you're here for a KPS from case number 2024 CF 11032 and all of the counts on that. It looks like you had a failure to appear at your pretrial hearing on that. So does he have an attorney on this? I'm sorry. This is Joe Phillips.
Oh, yes, he already has one for you.
Is
Yes.
it a
PD.
All right, so Mr. Phillips, the Public Defender's Office has already been appointed to represent you in this case, and they'll continue to represent you. I have reviewed the KPS. I do find probable cause for the charge, and right now, the KPS has your bond status at no bond, so that's the situation, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Phillips. Take care.
Thank you.
Next case is Jaden,
That's
take care. Yes, ma'am.
That's the one we're bringing back tomorrow. He's been on call.
Who's the one?
Jaden Pleakin. All right, so he's a bring back for tomorrow?
You come back.
Okay. I didn't hear the reason why.
Yes.
All right. The next case is George Powell.
Did
George Powell.
Did she say George Cow?
All right. Mr. Powell, you're charged with domestic violence battery. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Why?
Okay, if you change your mind, you can always talk to the assigned judge about that. I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charge. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail as a condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $5,000. Once you are released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow in person immediately. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You may not use, possess, or carry any firearms, guns, weapons, ammunition, or knives, and you're to have no contact with the victim. You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's residence,
Go to my YouTube
vehicle,
page at
school, place of
CollectCallFrom.
employment at all times.
They run there all the time. I got their
I
money
live
throughout
there.
the day.
I don't have anywhere else to live.
I understand, sir. That's the situation right now. All right? Take
This way.
care.
This way.
Next case is Jeremiah Robinson.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon, Mr. Robinson.
We're in
Right.
Florida.
It looks like Pretrial Services notes that Mr. Robinson had cases that
Thank
he's
you.
out on bond on in case number 2024 CT 4359, 25 CT 1791, and 25 MM 1755. But Mr. Robinson, you've got the charges you're here in front of me today on, which are possession of cannabis not more than 20 grams, possession or use of drug paraphernalia, and driving while license suspended or revoked.
You're
As to
lying,
the new
Richie
charges,
Rich.
would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you on those new charges. And I have reviewed the arrest report and citation, and I do find probable cause for the charges. In this case, I'm going to require a pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $2,000 on the cannabis and the drug paraphernalia charge, $2,000 on each count, and $250 on the driving while license suspended or revoked charge. Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you must submit to random drug tests that you're required, random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Is there anything anyone wants to tell me about the open cases?
For the 2012, 2025 MM case, he's out on bond. For the 25 CT 1791 case, he's out. Sorry, he's out on bond. And then lastly, 2024 case. Four, 3, 5, 9. He is also out on bond, Your Honor. So the state is requesting that Kennedy Parker in those 3 cases.
All right, Mr. Robinson, because you have those open cases, the state is asking that I revoke your bond on the open cases due to the new charges, and that I hold you no bond on those open cases, and that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to revoke your bond in case number 2024 CT 4359, 2025 CT 1791, and 2025 MM 1755, and you'll be held no bond on those cases at this time, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I have one question. When would my next trial be?
I don't know when your trial will be.
My next court meeting.
Oh, I think, Mr. Robinson,
The next court date would be the 30th.
I think it's May 30th,
May 30th?
sir. All right, thank you, sir. Please step to your left. Next case is Sean Snap.
It's gonna be James now.
I'm sorry, sir. Oh, I thought I heard someone say something. Are you Mr. Sean Snap?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Snap, Pretrial Services says you have an open case that you're out on bond on in case number 2024 CF 5021. But the charges you're here in front of me today are new charges: possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of methamphetamine. Would you like for me to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you on those new charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you. I have reviewed the arrest report, and I do find probable cause for the charges. In this case, I'm going to require a pretrial release with bail as condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $6,000 on the methamphetamine charge and $1,000 on the drug paraphernalia charge. Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you must submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Is there anything anyone wants to tell me about the open case?
Yes, Your Honor. He is out on bond. The state is requesting that.
Mustache in my bio.
All right, Mr. Snap, the state is asking that I revoke your bond pursuant to Parker v. State on your open case and hold you no bond on that open case, and that is what I'm going to do. So I revoke your bond in case number 2024 CF 5021, and right now your bond status on that is no bond.
Ma'am, might I say something? The case, it's not the same case. It's not one is a drug charge and one is a theft charge. there should be no reason for Parker versus State. They're not the same case, they're not the same charges.
Right now
What
you
is
have,
it?
instead
I'm
you have
going to
a,
trial. I'm going to trial on my other case, and I really need to be out to handle some stuff on my new case because I'm going to trial on the 6th of next month. So Parker versus State, I'm asking, I don't understand why you would go for this when they're not the same charge. I really need to be out.
because you have new crimes. You're alleged to have committed new crimes, but I've made my decision and I have revoked your bond, okay? But that's something you can talk to your attorney about because they can always file a motion with the judge who's assigned to the case. All right. The next case is Richard Clark Goots.
No, pues wow.
All right, sir. It looks like you are here for a charge of willfully attempting to defraud a urine drug test and then 12 counts of violation of probation. And the violations of probation are for probations in Seminole, Hillsborough, and in Polk.
So I actually, Your Honor, I'm not on probation in Polk and Seminole. I've got time served for both those cases. The only probation I'm on is Hillsborough. I did 10 months to get rid of those other two counties. I'm not on probation in Polk or Seminole anymore.
Is that right?
As of like 3 months ago. I'm on probation for Hillsborough, but Polk and Seminole, I got time served for both of those.
All right. Does the state have any further information than what's in the court file?
I'll look in Polk records online for the 2024 CF 954.
Because what I'm looking at is it says that, and this is the probation officer says that the offender's on probation with the Florida Department of Corrections for, and then they list two Polk case numbers, 2024 CF 001188 and 2024 CF 1686. And that's the only information I have. I have what's also on our docket. And then let me check one
I
other
think they
thing.
need a drop one, flush one.
Actually, for 9504, there's an order revoking probation from August 28th, 2024. Non-pro-tonk back to August 14th, 2024. And let's see here. Methamphetamine paraphernalia resisting without violence. And the probation was revoked and he was sentenced to 210 days in the Polk County Jail. So it doesn't appear that it should apply for at least those 3 counts of 954.
For the Polk.
Yes.
Do you have any information about the Seminole or Hillsborough County?
Seminole, I did. I got sentenced to 295 days. That was actually I was actually released in March of this year. Hillsborough, I'm still on probation for. I got time served both of those counties.
I don't think I have anything, and if the court has a teletype that's been confirmed, then I think that's the most accurate or most recent information we would have.
I don't have a teletype.
You'll receive on
I hope if you have one, I would have one, but yeah, because pretrial doesn't have one. But we'll see. But at least as to the new charge of willfully attempting to defraud the urine drug test, I do find probable cause after reviewing the arrest report for that charge. Would you like for me to appoint public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I
And that
provisionally
charge, that charge is
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you on that charge. Yes, sir.
well, just my question is it's so I have a charge in Polk and I have a violation of probation in Hillsborough County. Is that correct?
Yep. And we're working through the rest of it. So hold on.
Okay, here's a, I think this is the detainer for Hillsborough.
We have the.
It's loading.
I have this, that's all I'm saying.
It's the Tanner Hillsborough. Okay.
Well, I
This
was gonna say, right now, I don't know if we're gonna be in,
This appears to be a teletype from Hillsborough County.
Oh, man.
be nice if I had.
I get it from the sheriff's office site. Not touchscreen.
This is the one from Hillsborough.
Correct.
Well, look, I know I'm on probation for Hillsborough. It's Seminole County is the one that, because you said Seminole and Polk, I'm not on probation in either one of those counties.
And the attorney's office agrees that you're not, that the violations of probation for Polk, those charges shouldn't be here, right? Is that what I'm hearing from the
Yeah, they
state?
got the Polk.
So the Polk charges have been revoked, so
And Seminole as well.
I'm not there yet. We're trying to work through it.
I think I also saw a teletype for Seminole, but of course, look at that one off.
Apparently, I see the one for Hillsborough for all of the Hillsborough accounts. I do find probable cause as to the violations of probation for Hillsborough County. And right now, your bonds, and I have reviewed the teletypes and the arrest report, and your bond status on the Hillsborough violations of probation is no bond.
And here's the detainer for Seminole. Still not a touchscreen.
All right. Let me look at the detainer for Seminole.
What up, Tracy? Carrot Top or board guy? Who is the next price? Who's up on the Price is Wrong? Oh man. So
Seminole sent
tired.
a detainer saying that it was valid and that it's no bond on violation of probation. So at least right now, it's find probable cause as to that charge. I pointed the public defender, right?
What I don't understand is I was sentenced to 285 days and they terminated my probation. How can I be on probation in Seminole County? I was released from Seminole County in March. I literally was released from them with that.
Mr.
So-
McKinney? Do you have any information
Yes,
about
ma'am.
Seminole?
What's the name and DC number, Your Honor?
It's H23391 Utz.
UTZ.
The last name is UTZ Richard. And I have it. If you need any more information, let me know.
7.
Exactly what he said. That's what Mr. Utz said, right, Mr. Utz?
Yes.
All
So
right.
I'm off probation and Tier and Seminole. I have Hillsborough to deal with. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the date that they got revoked for Seminole, so I can put it inside?
But it's weird that there's a teletype from Seminole.
Looks like the Seminole case 1605 was revoked December 19th, 2024. And the Polk cases were revoked August 14th, 2024. Polk case is 24 CF 0954.
These fools are
As to
super
those
bored.
charges, there's no probable cause for the violation of probation, for the Polk violations of probation, and for the Seminole County violations of probation, and he'll be ROR'd on those charges. As to all of the violation of probation counts for Hillsborough County, I already found probable cause, and your bond status
Some
is
Bruno's
no bond
on
those
coffee.
right now. Now going back to your new charge, did I already?
No, you didn't say bond.
Okay, your bond on the new charge is $2,000.
Arizona,
Once you're
Pima
released,
County.
On the new charge, you need to report immediately to pretrial release services office in Bartow.
What up,
In
JP?
person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Your Honor.
Your bail is set at $2,000.
She don't want to hear you no more.
So if I bail it on that, Hillsborough County is just going to come get me, right?
I mean, I don't want to play the what if game, so that's something you can talk
Yeah,
to your
Pima.
attorney about.
No, I'm asking you because it's going to be a matter of the courts. So if I bond out on these Polk County charges, they're going to come, Hillsborough County's going to come get me, right? For
I'm
the
not.
BOP?
They'll come when the time's right, but I don't have a timeline on that, okay? Thank
Okay.
you, Mr. Eds. Take care.
Our Officer McKinney.
Thank you, Officer McKinney. All right,
All
the
right.
next case is Ramon Valdez.
Let's see. Come on down to the Price is Wrong, Ramon Valdez.
All right, Mr. Valdez, you're charged with use or possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of cannabis under 20 grams, possession of methamphetamine. Would you like
Damn.
for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the arrest report and I do find probable cause for the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $6,000 on the methamphetamine charge, $1,000 on the cannabis charge, and $1,000 on the drug paraphernalia charge. Once you are released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow immediately in person. Thereafter, you need to report by phone every week, 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you must submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Please step to your left.
I got a question. The other person that was in the car, they claimed everything was theirs. Does that?
That's not how I read it. They did. The way I read the affidavit is they claimed certain things were theirs, and then the stuff that was by where you were sitting, they did not claim that.
Damn,
I did
son.
find probable cause. All right. Thank you, sir. Please step to your left. Next case is James White.
Up next is gonna be James White, also known as Carrot Top.
All right, Mr. White, you're charged in this case with use or possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of methamphetamine. Would you like for me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Additionally, appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. I have reviewed the arrest report. I do find probable cause for the charges. In this case, I'm going to require pretrial release with bail's condition of pretrial release. Your bail is set at $6,000 on the methamphetamine charge. And your bail is set at $1,000 on the drug paraphernalia charge. Once you're released, you need to report to Pretrial Release Services Office in Bartow. Immediately thereafter, you need to report by phone twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you must submit to random urinalysis that you're required to pay for. Thank you, sir. Please step to your left.
So altogether, it's $600, right?
Well, I'll let you do the math. You heard me say what the bail amounts were, okay? Thanks. All right, that's all I have unless anybody has anything else.
All right.
Good job, I Wanderson. Good job.
All right, let's switch on over.
Thanks, y'all. Take care. Bye. Go off record.
All right, I think Maricopa might still be going on right now, so we'll catch the tail end of Maricopa here.
For my
Maricopa,
part,
Arizona.
I'm going to make a house call record, but I'm going to carry this around so that I remember to do it as soon as I get back.